we are the Gold Team. We're going to start off by just telling you a little bit about our customer, then our design process, our building process, what we did for testing, a little bit about our operating costs, and finally about our sponsor. Our customer was Niles Parker from the Children's Museum. One of the first things we did was we tried to find out specifically what he wanted for a final design. One of the things they teach us here is, talk to your customer. If you want to save a lot of time and money, just talk to your customer. You may think you know what they want, but you don't really know until you ask them. So that's what we did. We brought him a bunch of our design ideas, and we got some great feedback, and that's the kind of ebb and flow we had with him through this whole process, and it worked really well. I think one of the best examples of this was for our plexiglass. We originally thought we needed 4 pieces of plexiglass to go all the way around our project, and after talking to him, we found out we could cut it down to 3, and 2 if we really, really pushed it. This was huge because plexiglass is really expensive, so we were able to cut back on some of our costs. Very helpful. I'm now going to switch things over to Jordan, who's going to talk to you a little bit about our pre-design phase.
Well, when we were visiting Niles, we measured the doorways and hallways to make sure we could get our project in without disassembling the entire thing. While we were there, Niles let us walk through the entire museum to see all the other exhibits. One of the ones we really liked was his water exhibit. First, we were thinking about putting a water wheel and powering our lift that way, but as we talked more about that, we decided that there was going to be a lot of obstacles, and we decided to scrap that and go with another exhibit that we saw there, which was the Lighthouse. And we really went with that, and Brad will tell you a little bit more about that.
One of the hardest parts for any engineering team can be the design process. And I think our team did a very good job with brainstorming and benchmarking. At first, we decided that we wanted to go with a water sculpture, but due to the feasibility, we decided to scrap that idea. Our next idea was to do a ski lift style project, but also we decided to scrap that idea and go to our final design, which was the Lighthouse. For our benchmarking, we were mostly inspired by an artist named George Rhodes. He has the sculpture off to the right. But one thing that we noticed that he never did was put an engineering twist on any of the sculptures. What we wanted to do was put a number on it. Next, I'm going to hand the floor over to Daryl George.
So we really went back and forth, as I said, between water and the ski lift. And when we did decide on the Lighthouse, it was still really broad, and we didn't know what we were going to do. So I kind of had some free time last semester, and I just did a drawing, and it actually came out pretty good, surprisingly. And I just put a couple features on there, but they weren't really nailed down. So we kind of went back home again, and we wanted everybody to kind of design a feature. And I came up with a jump funnel, and someone came up with a couple loops, and John did the ladder drop, and Ben did the zigzag for a patentable feature. And we really want to do a helix lift because it's kind of confusing to think about how it works, but I mean, it looks really good, and it has 75 balls that are being lifted up at once. And we thought it really appealed, and it really took over the main theme. And now we'll get into building the actual project.
Building the project, we actually put 2,400 man-hours into constructing this project between the 7 of us. And it was really a lot of work. We used basically every fabrication skill there is. We machined, welded, we did woodworking. We even made up some own techniques of our own. Making the helix, Jeff actually became an expert at making the helix. We used a pipe on the lathe with the thread turning settings. And it would give us a base helix, and then we actually pulled it out to the desired pitch. We ended up making a bunch of those, trying to get the right pitch to work right. But after it all ended up working out pretty good. There was a lot of troubleshooting that we had to do, so I'm going to hand over to John and talk to you about that.
Yeah, we found that in the process of building this whole thing, there was a lot of troubleshooting that we had to go through. Pretty much everything needed something changed or tweaked. We had a lot of trouble with the lift at first. We had started with the belt drive. Kept slipping, so we put a tensioner on, still kept slipping. So we then switched to a chain drive, and we still had to find out that we had to support that so it would stay in place, not slip off. We also had a lot of trouble with the rails running up the helix lift. The balls would fall out, it was hard to keep them in place, and have an even space all the way up, so we had put a lot of work in supporting it in the right places. After that, we started looking at the cost of running this thing, and Jacob Beach is going to talk about that.
We wanted to keep this fairly cheap, so the electricity bill at the museum didn't skyrocket. We ended up hooking a watt meter up to our project. We found it took 76 watts to run. 69 of those come from the actual lights, and the motor is only 7 watts. And we did some calculations to do a monthly cost of running. We assumed 17 cents per kilowatt hour. And these are our sponsors. We'd like to thank all of them. Home Depot donated some wood to us, as well as the AEWC. The Rotary Club donated some funds to us, as well as the Dean. And Niles got us the plexiglass. And then we were donated paint by Benjamin Moore.
Does anyone have any questions?